Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my April 2019 horoscope report for you, where I will give you the need-to-knows for your sign, as well as talk extensively about the general transit energies, the conflicts between them, where they're rolling together, and how you can best use this knowledge of the energies to have the most graceful, productive month possible. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can check out my blog. Among other things, I have every month things about the new moon, the full moon, and how best to use those wonderful energies, and lots of other things there. If you'd like to book a live reading or sign up for my astrology apprenticeship program, you can also do that at anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which is an Amazon bestseller. So what's going on this month for you? I'm going to show you the charts that I used to figure out the information that's most important for you. I'll show you in detail for the early, middle, and late degree placements, what you can expect for this month, important themes, and best ways to use the energy. Then we'll transition back to talk about the general transits, and I'll give you the dates to note and all kinds of other things you need to know for this month. Hello, Cancer friends. Okay, so for April 2019, I'm calling the theme of the month for you, it's getting to be time for taking action. And then also followed by, it is time to take action, because at the beginning of the month, you're still not certain about what you need to do. And that's one of the major themes of this month, is that there's a lot of energy in water signs, which blend beautifully with your Cancer placements. So we still have a lot of energy in Pisces, and those placements are making beautiful angles still, as we talked about last month, with your Cancer placement. So it's a sweet boost, a nice break. You know, March definitely has a lot of flow from a synastry standpoint for you, and that carries over into April. But as the planets start moving, the personal planets start moving into Aries, and Mercury isn't retrograde anymore, and as the planets move into Aries, they start squaring your Cancer placements. And squares are challenging placements. They put pressure. But there's also a likeness in them because they are all cardinal. So these Aries and Cancer, and the ones that make the 90-degree angles to those, they are cardinal signs. And cardinal signs are the initiators. So there's a conflict because in general, Cancer energy is cardinal to the past. So basically it's like it's more nostalgic. It's like its line of energy runs backwards. And Aries energy is moving forwards. So it's a time when there's conflict about what you're supposed to do, but hopefully as the month moves on, and I'd say like mid-month, this will start to shift, where you can see what you have to do. There are some things that you can do to try to get clarity. One of my favorite ways to get clarity, and I use this all the time, it's been on my nightstand for 15 years. It's a book called The Marriage of Spirit by Leslie Temple Thurston with Brad Laughlin. So if you just search for Marriage of Spirit on Amazon, it's one of the more expensive books. It's a hardcover. It's like $20, $25 on Amazon, but you can find it used maybe for like $10 to $12, and it will be the best investment for you to buy that book. The exercises in section 2 can really help you to wade through the emotional content that's rolling through your being to get clear on what you have to do. And if there's too much emotion in the way where you know what you have to do but you can't actually do it, those exercises can really help you. You can also pray for clarity. You can use EFT tapping, do a search for EFT for clarity or making decisions. And spend the first part of the month getting clarity about what you're supposed to do. And then spend the rest of the month taking action. Even if you take a couple of action steps, once you're clear on them, they can go really far this month, okay? So it is a time for you to take action. It will likely be uncomfortable. You want to get as clear as possible before you take the action, not just for the sake of itself, but that's going to be a huge theme of the month. Cancer energies in general, especially early and middle, so those of you, so basically the early degree Cancer placements are the ones that are like June-born Cancers, or 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your moon or rising, or you know your sun sign degree. And then middle degree placements are like July 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees. And then the late degree placements are like I say so middle is like July 1st through 10th, and then late is like July 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. Okay, so those of you from the beginning of the sign until around July 10th, you have had this focus of Jupiter in the 6th house. And now Jupiter has gotten close enough for you late degree placements to also be experiencing the energy of expansion in the 6th house. So this has had to do with, over a long period of time, many months, getting your diet on track, getting your exercise routine on track, getting your health stuff situated. Stuff with animals probably has been busy. Also, anything having to do with like getting your organization, your structure, your daily routine. For self-employed people, this could be involving your business. For people who are in offices, expansion in the workspace. But now as Jupiter goes retrograde, that energy is going to sort of pull in more and reevaluate. Okay, so it's a good time. If you're losing some ambition, then don't worry about it. It's a time to reevaluate. And again, to get clear before you take action, but know that there are some actions that have to be taken. That's definitely a theme that's going on. We have a lot of strong focus for early, middle, and late degree placements in the 9th house. And the 9th house has to do with speaking, teaching, learning, publishing, writing, international business, international travel, anything involving different countries, different cultures, or different languages, or working with the church, like spiritual work. This can also have to do with just your view on life, your horizons being broadened, or anything having to do with like your major viewpoints in life. So there's a lot of strong energy there for early, middle, and late degree placements. We also have the sun definitely boosting your career sector. Now, in the beginning of the month, your early degree placements are going to feel this. A few weeks in, or a week, or depending on your exact middle degree placement, a little bit into April, you'll start to have the sun accentuating this space. And your later degree placements, this will be more towards the end of April. You'll be feeling this. But this has to do with a spotlight being on your career and your work and stuff with father, relationships with father. And a lot of times there's a relationship between those things. Our relationship to our work and how we are out in the world very often comes from our relationship with father. Now, I have seen exceptions where mom comes into that, but in general, the 10th house that rules work, that's the house that rules father or father energies. So something notable, a breakthrough about your relationship with your dad and how it relates to your work out into the world, that's all brewing for this month. It's very strong. And many people can experience recognition or opportunities in their job sector, or interest or excitement bubbling back up maybe where it wasn't present before. So a lot of energy there. Okay, so I am going to show you some very quick visuals about the things that I just talked about. So maybe just a couple of minutes, a minute or two, of the visual support for what I just shared. And then you'll come back to the video with me, and I'm going to talk about the general transits, the things that you can expect this month, that all signs can expect, but it will still be equally as important for you to understand, to navigate, and I'll give you some dates to watch out for. So let's go into all that now. Okay, so this is the Cancer early degree chart, but I'm going to show you some things that I talked about for all early, middle, and late degree placements. Okay, so we talked about the water placements still happening, making some sweet aspects for your placements. So nice flow. You would have been feeling that through March, and now here through a good bit of April, you've got some of that going on. We talked about how the planets are starting to move into Aries, and then this one and this one will be soon to follow, Mercury and Venus. And those make 90-degree angles, which are challenging angles. But there's a resonance with them because they're both cardinal. And cardinal energies, gosh, it's hard to write on this, are action-oriented. Now, it turns out, as I talked about, that Cancer's action-oriented energy is more like nostalgic towards the past and towards the internal space. But the Aries energies that are coming and are present this month and getting stronger are all fire action in the outer world. So we can see that there's a time for, this is a time for action, but you want to get clear first. But you can see those squares that were going on there. Talked about how the sun is accentuating the 10th house and how that's going to happen for the middle degree placements a little bit in and then your later degree placements, that will happen, a little bit more into the month. And the exact number of days will depend on your exact placement. So that's the 10th house of work being accentuated. And we talked about this full 9th house. So there's early and then middle and then late. Full 9th houses. And that's the teaching, learning, church or spirit related things, international travel, international business, expanding your viewpoints, things like that. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the video with me, and I'm going to talk to you about these general transits and the things you need to know about those, and I'll give you some dates to watch as well. So the theme for April 2019 for the general transits is the urge for action, but ... And I will explain in detail as to why I'm calling it that. So the astrological new year begins at the end of March each year, and at that time the sun moves into Aries, which is the astrological new year. Shortly after, or sometimes coinciding with, in this case, shortly after the sun moves into Aries, other personal planets, meaning the ones that are closest to us, start moving into Aries. So the sun will start out the month in Aries. Midway into the month, we'll have Mercury, then Venus is going to follow shortly after in Aries. So all of this action energy will make you want to do something. So adding to the drive for action, Mars is going to be in Gemini. Mars is how we use our energy, and Gemini is all over the place. And it's always really busy. It's thinking, it's talking, it's doing, and it's restless. So we've got Aries energy, which is among the most restless in the zodiac. We've got Gemini energy, which is among the most restless in the zodiac, combining together, and people are going to want to talk and move around and go places and do things. Plus, we will have just gotten out of a watery, Mercury retrograde covered month of March, and people are going to be ready for some action. So this energy all combined can be great for getting things done, but there is a hurriedness about it. And a recklessness, and sometimes not paying attention. So it increases the chances for accidents or doing something, slip-ups in ways that that aren't positive. So you definitely want to be more careful, pay more attention, add some breath, add some consciousness to all of this oomph energy, because you really need to take more caution. This month carries some awkwardness in the way that, although we have all this fire energy and then the important air energy in the Gemini, there will be all of this like pent-up energy to do things, but because there's still energy in Pisces that's transitioning over, this water energy, specifically in Pisces, can bring more of an abstractness, like an uncertainty, an inner focus, and just really not feeling sure. So when you have the combination of like you need to do something, but you don't know exactly what to do, then that can cause a lot of wasted energy, just putting a whole bunch of energy into something and then a couple of weeks later realizing, as the Mercury retrograde post-shadow transit energies shift mid-month, that actually the direction is completely different. So you're going to be chomping at the bit at the beginning of April and say, oh, Mercury is direct, time to do stuff. But I really want you to hear that in that first couple of weeks, try to find your certainty before you take action and commit. Mid-month is much better for committing, it's much better for certainty, it's much better for clarity. So the more that you can be sure about what you're doing instead of doing for the sake of itself, the better. And the more you can tune into the inspired action rather than action just for the sake of itself. So like tuning into what spirit wants you to do rather than you just being so whacked out that you have to do something. So, going to the gym, exercising, doing things that can get this energy out. But of course, be careful when you're doing those things as well, that it's not too aggressive and you don't hurt yourself. So definitely watch the signs and the synchronicities closely, because those will be the things that can help match you with the best path. The other thing that's going on this month is that Jupiter is moving into retrograde, and it's going to be there for months, okay? And when this happens, the expansion frenzy that was occurring before then starts to stop, basically. And sensitive people may have felt this even earlier, because there is a pre-retrograde transit shadow or shadow transit before Jupiter goes retrograde as well. So if you're finding that even in the open window of February, the end of January and February, if you were starting to slow down, your ambitions were starting to slow down, that could have been Jupiter getting ready to go into retrograde. And so during this time, having kind of a break from the long unbridled expansion spree can be of benefit, because you can take stock and evaluate. So pulling in carefully to evaluate the next steps is a really good move. It doesn't mean you can't do anything or shouldn't do anything. It just means if you naturally are losing your ambitions, then don't be concerned when Jupiter, it will come back, basically. Definitely economy of energy utilization is called for now. That's one of the things that Jupiter, especially in Sag, really wants when it goes into retrograde, is how you are spreading yourself thin and how you can condense your efforts so that you can be much more productive. So basically, fewer brilliantly placed actions that are supported by inner certainty are much better this month than just crazy haphazard action for the sake of itself. I really love this time for spring or down under fall cleaning, and I definitely love Marie Kondo's message to release anything that doesn't spark joy. This way you have surroundings and everything in your life with things only that spark joy. She's got 2 amazing books that I highly recommend, and this is an amazing time for taking action on things like that. Definitely vision boards are well supported at this time. So the new year, the astrological new year started at the end of March 20th, when the sun moved into Aries. But the New Year's kickoff party is when the new moon in Aries happens, which is on April 5th. So that's one of the best days of the whole year for a vision board, and the days around there and this time, it's really great for putting things together to help you figure out what you want to create this year. It's a really wonderful time for planting seeds. Something interesting about this month is that most of the days that have sweet aspects are completely coupled with days that have challenging aspects. So there's not as much of an easy time to say this time is good, this time is challenging. You know, we've got a few days right in the beginning of the month where there's a series of sweet aspects, but then pretty much for the rest of the month there's just like dicey, sweet, dicey, sweet, dicey, sweet. So just really tune in to how your personal flow is with these transits. That full moon on April 19th is definitely going to be very intense. It's a full moon at 29 degrees of Libra, so like culmination of relationship things. So definitely look out for surprises then. There are some sweet aspects that go along with that full moon, and there's also some dicey ones that go along with that full moon, but definitely very intense. So if you want a detailed list of the dates of each of the aspects and what goes along with those, you can sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. When you sign up for my free email newsletter, you also get access to my 28-day virtual coaching program, which is free when you sign up. So you can just go deep in with that, and then plus you'll get this written report in your inbox delivered a month early so that you can have a visual understanding of what's coming. AnnieHelpsYou.com, you can book a live reading with me. You can check out my astrology apprenticeship program if you resonate with how I do astrology and you'd love to learn with me. I also have some other wonderful vocational support courses that you can take, as well as subliminals to help train your mind to create the life you want. I've got all kinds of other goodies on my site. If you'd like written reports, astrology reports, horoscopes from me, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com for monthly written horoscopes that often have different information than is in my videos. And there are other blogs there as well too, natural lifestyle blogs. So definitely check those things out, and you can check out my husband's website, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He always has very interesting goodies there, and he does tarot and astrology as well. So I would love for you to check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days. This is an Amazon bestseller, and it is wonderful for anyone who really wants to shift their experience in life in a very simple but powerful way with this beautiful little book. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.